Supreme Guide of Human Beings, Teacher of Gods and Human Beings, to you, living and free and everywhere. Ye Tao, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, we subdue from the shape of man. I prostrate, make offerings and offer refuge to the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the holiest trial, the keeping effective for the awakened being, perfected knowledge and equal conduct, Sagata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings and king, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, living and free and awake one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, we subdue from the shape of man. I prostrate, make offerings, and offer refuge to the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond the holiest trial, the completed, perfected for the awakened being, perfect in knowledge and equal conduct, Sagata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings and teacher of gods and human beings, to you, living and free and awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shackle of man, I prostrate, make offerings, and offer refuge. When no supreme amongst humans will born on this earth, who paced out 7 strides, then saying, I am supreme in this world. To you, the more wise men, I prostrate. With pure bodies born supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that places in the three worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like spotless mirror, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Just free like you, the three worlds I love, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attraction, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field on fire with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha. To all three, every devout homage. To all worthy of respect, bound with bodies as many as all realms, atoms in all aspects, with supreme faith, I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp. An illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble. A dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the faults and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness and death. To page 15 for the Heart of Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate for the Arya of Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on Massavoldus mountain in Australia, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perfection. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also ending of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra sent this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. Ashagani, son of the lineage train, who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom. He said that when the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara sent this to the Venerable Shariputra, Ashagani, son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage, who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom, shall look upon it like this: correctly and immediately beholding those 5 aggregates also stemming of inherent nature. For presently emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling discrimination, composition or factors and consciousness are empty. Shariputra likewise all phenomena are emptiness. Without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no
discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration, without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice a profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoiced. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharadaviputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised and spoken by the Bhagavan. To page 25 for the short mandala.
Ashi jishi me tatan, rirab limshi nite kempati, sangye shinte mete uwadi.
Drokun namda jingla
Chöpa sho
jetsa lama dampa
Kenam
kenam
ki
chöke
Chöke kala Chenze Chenche
Cheta
Cheda
sampe
Sampe
duje
Duje
semala
Semala
Sabke
Sabke
chöke
Chöke
chapa
Chapa
paptu so.
Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami.
Sanye
Chatan
Chodan
sochi
Sochi
chonam na,
Shanam
chancho
Chancho
padu
Pada
dagni
Dani
chapsu
Chapsu
chi,
Targi
targi
Chujin
jipe
Jive
sonam
Sonam
ki,
Ki Dora
penche
Penche
sangye
Sanje Chupara
drupa shon.
Sanje Chodan
Chatan
Sochi
sochi chonam na,
Shanam Chancho Pada Dani
dagni chapsu chi,
Dagi
targi
Chujin
jipe
Jive
sonam
Sonam
ki,
Ki Dora Penche Sanje Sanje Chodan Sochi Shanam
chancho
Chancho
padu
Pada
dagni
Dani
chapsu
Chapsu
chi,
Dagi
targi
Chujin
jipe
Jive
sonam
Sonam
ki,
Ki Dora Penche
sangye
Sanje
drupa shon.
Gange de Zenyu Zangwe Dao Danji Bangwe Chirri Tambe Shine Denze Kodam De La Chade Lo Donyu Nye Sunde Chube La Chi Chi Zenze Kanji Dendro Chanda Pe Ma De De Nyan Zang Lang Zo De Zo Shinde Lem Zho Sho Pan Den Ze We La Ma Ram Bo Shi Dagi Chigura Pen Den Den Yo Na Kari Chimbe Gu Ne Chi So Kusong Do Ji Ngo Do Tse Do So Ay Dang Zo Gu Long Kom Shi Kya Ra Tanda kaan tuyaagi chuyo kaan chanjuk sim ki ko chanjuk sim jedang rinpa shegi yor rada simba chanjuk sim sayade da simba samaya tardungwa diri di nga zanzu da sus digi yonyaagi jungza zo diri digi dhubyaagi tablam yakshuyo diri di dhubyaagi tab digi di tanda tuyagu yori di tuyaadi 아니 라니 지구에 저다 많이 벌어. 체디기 파마니 그때 심지 담지 가져요 두두게 편도 두두가 지기 대시 등에 안진전인 게 삼십구로 근데 야고 직제 쇼스로.
Yeah. So the motivation we should intend is to hear this Dharma that deals with bodhicitta and the steps for that, for generating that mind. So essentially, that bodhicitta is kind, the ultimate kind heart, and the method to do that. And the result is bliss. So this is the best method to generate such an ultimate well-being. So when one hears it, not just for you, but the kind Father, Mother, sentient beings of this life, in that context, listening for their benefit with bodhicitta.
Hoi, da. Gao gom ra ta de. De. Lamrim yingi chungwa de. Meze de. Ran gyawa. Mi gyawa lemba de. Koi chwe song, sirwa. Lamrim sajik yingi chungwa de. Yone gyawa sangwa yin. Gao gom.
One should rejoice that being able to listen to the Lamrim, the steps on the path to enlightenment in this life, then one's life's purpose is met. Meeting such a holy teaching, rejoice in that.
Hoi, da. 다 제상 저 디치나 야고요라 하서나 말한 상물로 아니 디기 되고요라다. 디기 되고요. 야고치 되고요. 수수 가디나 지기고지 되고요다. 알레 아니 삼로데스 자침부터 저희네 수수지고 매바 수수기 파마당 부구당 빈자당 도고토모도 저에 지기 야고지 용야라 상로당 그래로 딜레데 삼로 자쳐도 저네 말아서야 룽바지고디 예디 야고지 용으로 지나티 딜레 자쳐디게네 말아서 미 도미 티예네 직대와지 용으로 지나서 딜레 자쳐 삼로 자쳐디 먼저 도와 미자마인 바다 심진 유도 동해 뇽이 창말라 동해 매바식다 대화진 오르잖아 삼배 삼바 대지기요레다 삼바 가주 자치 중게 아니 텔레파베 데부디 대화 자치 중 용구요레로
Yeah.
수수지고 대화 전전 사무단이 들라니 대화 용주 sab라야 아니 동해 진장 용되기요레 가서나 수수 대화 두야가 최도 미션라다 너버제야 ku유라 너버제야 든도 셈제라 너버제야 든도 지기도 알아. 아니 신다양 수수 제갑 야고 용야 체디 미 제갑 신라 차와체나 가디나디 마지바 되거든. 다된 멤버 제제 베셈바 자치 중게 텔바베 데부 자치 중데 용된 저르시도 와다디 노이니 주로버지레도 알아.
It is the case that we all want happiness, particularly finer well-being. We want to be happy. And if we take that a bit kind of vaster than just oneself, then we are thinking about our parents, our children, our relatives, our friend, and yet extending that notion of wanting happiness even bigger still to the country, and then we can make it even vaster to include all of humankind, and vaster yet again to include all transmigrating sentient beings that are experiencing, that want bliss and do not want to suffer. So, as vast as is one's view, as vast as the result will be. But conversely, if one just fixates on one's own interests, not wanting to suffer and to be happy, then that is a limited view, and that we tend to, just out of self-interest, harm other humans and animals, and lack of happiness results. And that can even result collectively with a country's view of just itself. So it is a reality that as big as one's view is, the result is in kind. Yes.
죄송합니다. 먼저 신변기 로디유나 아니 가자 다두기 내갑되어 다두기 뒤에 연구열이라
Yeah.
안다 준준나는 데서다 망대시가 따지고 지워란게 된지와 두바시 기준이 디니진이 저와되서라 당도 계좌 망고 싶이 시에고 말했으라 계좌 망고 시에고 말했 아니 ngaranzo rangden jinjang samlodane ngozol khari yungudoro chigdas an tuba sanje jumdende dan gese chenju sembadozo shenben ge samlo janjang dangyore konzola de debu khari yungudo ngaranzo kaduyina rangden janjang samdangoro ngozol debu khari yungudo odedada ne sebu shingrezeda junjunala sebu shusongdoro.
And if we can, in fact, generate concern for others' welfare, then, as a result, all temporal and ultimate needs are met, as it is stated succinctly by Shantideva in the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. The Buddhas work solely for the welfare of others, whereas children, unenlightened beings, just work for their own needs. There's not need to say much, just look at the results of the former and latter. So in that sense, we work just for our own ends, whereas the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, working with altruism, look at the result they get and look at the result we get, as Shantideva Shantideva says, not need to say much.
제가 이제 신변계 로디다 가져 요위나 디지기 디지 숙체 연구위자 신변계 로 간제스 지고에 메기 탑람디 단당가서 송구열에서 다 탑람디 변나 단다 제르머친 그 남는 주문은 송반난시 제르머친랑 그 냠련체 안수수길라 똑바지 냠뇨이 데마티션 요래서 팅상가서 탭데 professor da tu tep so de penejik to deneju ne dina la shokran ji ji le ye ni su dik sha bora ko kona ge zambas ke mara one jena zamba de la ngone ge zom la de kharo go sun su sem na ge nyo da su sem ge tok ba de je de ma ani thi ba de la zom la go yor
Okay.
딩상 게 대망 고 좀 게 말바 촉dik 제 수 dik sha bora denejuk dik denejuk dik je su dik sha bora ba mi 로다 디 그런서 professor 되네 research 연구도 다다 지지직네 디 쇼크란데 요레스 지지직레 쇼크란니 요레스라고도 미시 딩아랑게 냠뇽다 나레게 니 하고서 녜 딘데 시기도 뇌니 주딘데 도스 디 티토고면도 알아 제가 제를 뭐chen 그 단단디 수수게 냠렌체 슝네 셰버나시 냠렌체 수수줄로 똑바통 디마 슈글간 티션죠 탭디 다가스 네 촉릭 챙겨드네 말인데 지르머지랑게 똑바 마 냠뇽디 슝단 템바 충딩 줘디마 티션 줘지르잖아 마 당긴 라이브상 아주기 메데딜라 안데 차직 투기 중하대 겨상 보레스로
Then as far as cultivating that altruism or final well-being, there must be a method for that. And in terms of Lama Tsongkhapa, he practiced, not only studied but practiced, and then gained insight into that reality and through experience explained it. Unlike when you read another type of text composed by or let's say compiled by a professor, they're not really compiling it from their own experience and insight. Oftentimes, books these days you read on any matter are the results of research that are collected, and often with the motivation of doing that thesis, compiling it, perhaps not out of experience in line with reality. So whereas Lama Tsongkhapa, through practice and experience and insight of the truth, then composed this text. And as was mentioned before, meeting such a method, this life's purpose is meaningful.
제가 베자 따게 되길래 오늘 다 다른 안한테 미 겨울렘 받데 거쳐서 나랑 파만이 거린 신분이 나든지 통화연조 로연조 상단연조 중샤 3년에연데 근데 상로 땅고래서 베자 로기로기래 베자 동계기계그래 가도이네 파만이 거린데 템버치 파만이 거린이 겨워들 렘버라다
Okay.
디 겨워디 당부 거린데 직상 아니 되네야 수수 수에베 거린데 직상 안당아서 디고나다 준데 명아 든지고네 심제담지랑 마치뉴바 셰바 틴템바스 아디랭은서 틴소와디 카둘라와 틴소와디 도고라다 제가 틴소와 도라랑나 틴템바다 도고라 틴템바디 틴템바 도인데는 나가라서 단다든데 투기 총화데 아니 파마니 가딩기 겨와디 람바레 참 아니 두즈 가딩 쳔보이 텐 로아
Okay.
근데 템바이나 아니 심나라 지 가와당 수수 파마데 지 samlo tambo samne simna kawa yongya ane tene de shenya dazo chi gewe shenye dang choro dang ane charanzo danda di na khaso gore inji dola tsu yushan jo dazo inji dola tsu gyurnye dazo tozo ge gadin yin te jido samlo dana gadin tensi de inji minji ki tarang mojil samdang mara tanda khaan maranzo tugu yoba logu yoba khaan lubjon chigi yoba tagara ne 두두 가딘 텐제 텐토이나 베 디페 메시 케체 모레 가르사나 네 셈나라 가와당 미든데 통인데 가리나지 미지 통인데 셈나라 마가와데 매버차로 미디어 다들 거린 친구진 삼다 셈나래 마가와 탐제 시로라 미지 통무자 되다 알라 편도치니 거린 친구진 아 되다 지금 내가보다 다두게 되지든지 질르드네 중월에 아섬진데 삼을 따면 뒤에 단도 당보들 셈나래 메데라워지 유네 될 람상베 시제네 셈나라 지 갈란라로 어딘데 용야 아주 상황을 거린 친구에 삼다운데 셈나라 가나로 용야 된데 용고요 되나 아니 주게와 개와 피는 거 개와라 셈나게 갈란랑로 어지도 하고 되리다 개와라 되리미 신다 로스 요마르다.
And also the fact that we can even study such texts or come across them on a base level is due to the parents. The fact that we are human, we can see the teachings or read and know about the texts is due, the fact that we have this very body and are able to engage in that is due to initially the fact that we are born human, but then latterly sustaining that human life from the parents, isn't it? From the kindness of the parents. Because if we look at the 6 causes and 1 effect, we looked at that kindness of mother, recognizing each being as mother, and then the kindness, and then repaying. But before we repay, we have to recall the kindness, isn't it? Recall what they did for one. So just the fact that you can hear these teachings is coming from the kindness of the parents. And if you can recall that again and again, then your sense of kindness and gratitude to the parents will be great. And you can extend such a gratitude and joy or love to the spiritual friend, your teacher, and here at the Dharma Center, the people you work with, and those who helped to translate the Dharma into your language. And then in that sense, it is not so far away, this notion of the kindness. It is immediately at hand, how you can read and study. And it also helps to foster a sense of joy when you lay your eyes on those beings. Instead of having aversion, one can think that this person is able to fulfill one's temporal and ultimate well-being. So when you have that kind of base joy of recalling the kindness of others, then naturally there is virtue. The virtue increases. What is virtue? It is just delight and joy in mind.
니나랑서 미만차 최저는 대녀전열에도
Yeah.
제도 아니 최저 나라 대대대다 저 정말로 직가서래 미 도와지 가리는데 내가 지나래 칼라서에 나래 그래서 나이다 뒤에 안하게 가서래 샤라직베 능미디제디 별대열들레다 단도 내 대어디에 나나 나마 경아마 레고 고션죠 능미지 튕겨요 능미지님도 대대요 튕겨요 당고 근데 상당 수수문에로 아니 능미나라 능미 가시 참바 연구래 맞아요 연구라라 능미 가시 참아 가시 자르제 단단한 자르제 아니면도 가서 되나라 디페야고로 하시 능미 가시 자르제 접시다 남도 쳐서다 자르제 잡냐면도 디페야고래
Most of you here attending here work in some capacity at the Dharma Center, be it a kind of volunteer work or cooking the food. And I think that our connection then is like past lives in that context. So I like to think of it as being family members. And sometimes family members, well, most times they're harmony, but sometimes they squabble, don't they? But at the moment, it seems to be going pretty well. We're quite harmonious. There's no direct fights, right?
근데 수수에 대해 나라게 낭람난다 곰바 로지 인람나에 디그로다 곰바로 인천난 디그로다
Yeah.
수수 디 삼제 더지 잘라다 보자래 저지 내가 지야로 근데 전에 수수 나는 내가 지야라 미치지지 라고 말하러 수수 셈나는 가오 지지 지으러 봐 대체는 내가 지도 기우도 알아 세상에 네 직도 하지 가리는 직 잘라다 보자 이날에 먼저 가르쳐는 상상을 이제 저조단도 지 배샤 주 현대자니 배전 채월에 잘라 요거데 다고 잡나 조선 충원 여러
I see.
요거데 다고 요거 잡이나 조선 충원 요거 말어 봐 현대 파시네 지 추가라게 야마지 깔라게 지 투야도 저이나 그 도와 랑가스도 육신나 야 두제 바 가르치든 지나 로 근데 지기나 딜레 돌로시 nga dugu yoro ro 조선 충자게 시자치야 안 건다데 로 진짜 차스나나 아니 로디 랑가 로디 세션에 디로고 지메시 데 추준이 시자시 로디 빠잖아 에 베샤 추수로 하셔던 시자치야디 추조로 뭐네게 야고요 수순 나는데 지그러 봐 로서 카드세 지그러 로 빌망고 파기위자 로디
Yeah.
대나시 대네 수수 대나시 지금 아니 sempa 지워요로 수수 나나 되는 지워요로 와데스 당분간서 디시샤단디 비미시 계정 모르도
Kisla petangbo di lo gangla chiksha karishas.
추가라게 야마
Ale chukala.
추가라 투야 직도 고 독도지도와 대도와 가스콜라 육색도와
Yeah.
녜디야 두 파마테데 제기요 제던디
Chukala.
디 추기 투 펩투야지도와 독도지 딜레 고문돌로 싱하러와 뉴비너로
Ale chu toria di flasawadi.
디 투이자지도와 독도지도
Ale
어디
yeah, okay. So then in that sense, it is good to think of this gampa, or we could say, monastery is like my home. So it's good to take care of it as you would your house. There's no need to say about it, because if you're living in a house, you would have kind of like a natural delight in just taking care of it. And that goes without saying about the things surrounding the Dharma Center that we use. So some things are donated, but what's being said is that it's important to use the things in the environment well, so that there's no waste, like being able to, I think, seal the water. The chik tok tok mabudi. Leaking water? I didn't understand.
No, joining pipe.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So join the pipes if there's a leaky water, because you want to save $4 or $5. You know that white stuff you do? Yeah, that one. And the next one is when you see the lights on, it would be good to switch them off, thinking that it's like my home, so you want to save money and be happy in your home. Having that discrimination would be good. Awareness.
Sometimes people throw away a cup. I saw corner cup, one cup there, one cup there. Your cup you need to bring back. Someone maybe a little bit do gardening, drinking, and live there. You see something Buddha's area and Struba area. I saw some cups, glasses there. 충주신유도 저 그래서 좋아하고 저 다고야 보자고라.
Yeah.
밀려 주고 줄려 다보고. 좋아.
Yeah.
아들도 이제 추세야 돼. 도전에 지야로 충주도전에 치토베이나 야고요로라.
The details, to take ownership of them, as humans, and in the context of Dharma, the small things, they matter.
이제 디요로가 그래서 디시다. 먼저 디 단도디 chanjuksim 고미야기 림바들 당념디 기생도세 마찬.
Yeah.
다단도 심제담제랑게 마치뇽 버심버사데 당념도야게 탐랑야 쇼제레로 마이나 이념 파이나다 마세야데 삼랑 인지민지 가도이나 마마짠냐 라고 말해요. 그래서 초와 삼단 초제야 가다 팔 삼단데 지가링 베서 게게 고구 아스스 토고 가셔야 도보 가셔야 제가 로고야 오신인데 도와라.
Yeah.
도보 되게 메제데 편도진이들은 어디서 삼다 저저 수수 셈나래. 소화지 가딘 친구인데 소화 수제도도나 대 당고 체대를 메제데나 수 소화야고 때도 대상다. 아니 체대 대대원하시 니 저와 치말레 미신다지 도도 삼다는 거죠. 심지 탐제라니라 가딘 친구인바데. 어느 도 시시미나 이 가딘이 찬네 냠바래 당뇽래서
Leo.
당뇽디 제가 근데 명아 뒤나는 찍는 당뇽디 타요 말이야. 김쟁 가서는 마신 버스야 돼 냠nen데 야고 되는 당뇽 뒤로 와차다.
Okay.
뒤로 nen가 되와.
The importance of that first point of cultivating a mind of equanimity, impartiality, even relates to one's relationship, for example, with the mother, because you don't have to necessarily reflect that it was the mother. It could be the father, the teacher, the friends, whatever. You all have a particular relationship and cultivated feelings around that. And in the context of how they were kind to you in this life, the feelings of closeness came from those relationships. So there is a kind of equal sense in that regard that will sustain, that you are sustained by that will continue to the future lives. And just that point of the kindness of the mother, when you extend it to all sentient beings, all are equally kind in that regard. So equanimity can also be subsumed in that point of relating to each being as mother.
아니 디 마신 틴틴해야 된다. 틴템바들라. 아주 가딘 친구들라. 기생어만의 시에임바. 그래서 지 가서래 식사하러 잘 상마다 마셔. 그래서 상마 먹고 다anje. 아니 지 셈나라 지 초로지 레야요지 충분히나. 오늘 야고로. 시험에서 저 최대 책도 먹고 퇴베이나.
Aleo.
간단지라. 퇴베 먹고지 진짜라 용. 아니 간단체 지 근데 제주다 지 식사하러 오지 잖아 짠짠짠짠짠 마도데데 아니 셈나라야 초로지 매버시 아니 초로지 매두 지 돈다디 초면은 돈다디 초 셈나로 뇨어들라 초요시고 요라 뒤여베이드네 디메나 아니 지 강요된데 퇴연디 다 망고 지 장아 망고 지 퇴선jo디 펜도금도 다 펜도 가래 아니 뇽나한테 레로레야 그냥 가도 아니 디 데베 녀가를 당하나서 망고트 진짜 망고 전한서 우스게 연구해 왜인데 당하나게 냠뇽시기요 당 망고 퇴사로 다 퇴되어들라 칼라드 마서는 싸고 오더라 사제 마미 좋아디 소 망고 잡나 칼라드 좋아시 무더라 캐나는 냐제 소마잡되든 도민도 없고 소잡다니 심루 심루도 하잖아. 디 인디서 책이 마신 틴틴해야 돼. 틴텐버서야 돼. 거리 좀 돼. 자디 개좀 쇼래도 하대. 지 오늘 디 미디 수수를 거리 전부 임배 초지 여비이나 오늘게 아니 참바당 닝제도 삼로당 말을 내용 거다. 다 디메사도 다 네 연구야 말다. 닝지 공부이나 닝지 제도고야 말에 참바 공부이나 참바 제도고야 말에 아니 님도 얘네들 가데나 지 강에 지퇴된 요 차대도 네 지금 되게 근데 당고 뭐에서 카도기 미디 되어시단디 가랑아서 팬도면은 다 당에 최대 직제제 팬러지 가르토고 있는데 이제 이러와도 미신다게 미 럭도 어디 가래 최진이도 저번 연바도스러 데 낭바도서 카시 저번 연바도스니 그래서 얘들 누가 다 그러지 진짜 되고를 냠래 칸된 최주 숨시 지기요를 저번 연바시도스러 근데 이제 시에다는 주어줘야면도 지 가서 그래 주어지면도 데 가르다 가르쳐 그래서 미카시 들어방면서 로망부님도 10대도 하고다 그래서 책이 삼루망고 당고에 계절물에 맛이 진진세야 진템바 써야 된다 거리지 무이만
It is the case that when we come to Dharma class, and maybe over a series of years, we hear all these new words like kindness, that new concepts. But, okay, so you hear the words of Dharma, but it doesn't really permeate. They're just like new words, and you could go away and pray. But if the mind is not moved, there's no experience in mind, because for the mind to have experience and insights, there has to be a feeling. You have to be moved. And then, if that happens over a long period of time, that you come to Dharma class, you hear a lot, but you could become lazy, that you just hear, but there's no a change is affected. And I'm saying this because all of you putting in effort to come here and attend the class, and from my experience, it can be like that. You hear like you would eat, in the sense that you eat, the food goes in the mouth, but you have to chew it thoroughly with the teeth to taste it. It's just like that. You hear all of these words about, okay, each being's been your mother and they've been kind, but you have to feel the kindness of that one. And if you can, then naturally love and compassion will come. If not, if it's just left at the word level, no matter how much you meditate on loving kindness, great compassion, even if you have beings close to you, nothing will change. And we often hear sometimes comments like that, of like Buddhists who don't have very good conduct, like bad practitioners, that in fact might do 3 or 4 hours of sadhana, prayer every day, but there's no change. There's no change that takes place. So these words about, each being your mother, and remembering in that context how they're kind, you have to reflect on it.
미신지 깔래 잡신지 전혀 먼저 비지 시에도 삼나 야고다나 로. 삼나 야고다나?
Yeah. So that kindness, coming back to that, it is temporal and ultimate benefits we will get from that kindness. In an ultimate sense, we are dependent on the kindness of others for our state of Buddhahood. In a temporal sense, we are dependent on the kindness of others for the food we eat, the tea we drink. In fact, due to the efforts of others.
비주시에 간지 요말 직된다로 직제다 저런서 니에 요말 직제다로 제나 어디 나 미신 디 미신 되면도 띵 하나 찍고게 세인 띵 하나 찍고게 존스에 요말 찌하
There is not one thing that we use that you could locate that is not dependent on other humans' kindness. Can you find one? Can you find one thing that is not dependent on others? That you say like, I made this alone. Can you find such? Yeah, search through a couple and you won't find another.
I couldn't find. If you found someone,
show me
something. You show me. This is without connection. People, sentient being. mad. Then you become water good. Roya, what good ready? I didn't read this sometimes, do I? Sometimes I'm not in this. She was it. 근데 상당히 necessary 배자 채워 상담 미단 더 여든 조지 더 휴지 더 여든 조지 상당히 loneliness 다 영화 그런 민도 안 거는 상담 근데 스탄도 위나로 loneliness 거의 영거다.
So really, if you think deeply on the connection we have to other living beings in that regard, in that we are dependent on them, there's not even an opportunity for loneliness to come.
원에다 편도신 뭐 쉬우지래. 다 뒤가나 기승고만에 눈다 정리지 진대만 되간 셰레 단도 뮤트제 다르 눈다들래. 곰자래 진 템바데메나 디심날메나 아니 진 소와디 용싱 말아봐. 파티 소르 건디친 뭐 임바데 하고도 다들 바까지 투 건디친 뭐투 편도신이들 파가도 편 논로그라다.
Yes.
다디 주 편도에 하마거나 파 편도야 그 사무코나 리그 말아봐잖아. 얘마 니바드네 마요야 요마다. 진소와서야 돼. 건 틴템바데 하마거나 진소 용신하고나 요 말아봐잖아.
And as we went through a few weeks ago, the importance of recalling how sentient beings are kind. Well, if one doesn't even see that in terms of it being a source, how can you even have the thought to repay that, to give back? If you don't recognize how that kindness functions, then this, reciprocal paying back does not occur.
다 이는 다마 양디 주신 때문에 하고 그것은 디젤 있으면 하고 있나? 야고야라다 된다 하고야 체도 tinsowas야 돼. 기승 둘다 뭐 tinso 도야마라.
도야마르기스나.
tinso와들라다 안아서 단다 미드줄라 tinso와데 하모거서는 안저 뭐 신기요 말 수수. 그봐? 뭐 신기요 말. 다 대수수 파만 진용배 신기요 말에. 빈자 진용배 신기요 말에. 뭐만 신배 인자 아니들 르단샤고 왔다. 르단샤고 요라다. 뭐만 신배 줌zen지 아니 샤나다 세대 가란도 미가 예수스 파마 세대 뭐만 신이는데 뭐도 알아. 그거 시주가는 샤제. 파마에 있는 뭐만 신이 망보. 빈자에는 춘주가는 카드는 뭐만 신이 망보도 와. 뭐만 신배 줌zen지 그린 주메버디 디 누구 말아봐. 수수 그때와 편도진이도 동해 영혼제대 수수 동해를 다 배전셔야 어제디 미리 말업 첨부 지그라로 수수 한마디 배 칼라사에 매버체 수수대 아니 배 럭셔리든데 배대 시우든데 펜스든데 오르가닉든데 요즘 사제 대대위는 미송도 유다면 여러 왔다 수수 파마 배 칼라사에 매 샤는 수수대 망고사든 디 미상매도 미디 유다면도 미디 말업 세고라 말업을 받아 말업 기나는 돈이 있는 애는 대래 말하세 가나서 말업 지금 해서 그러 가서 야구 지금 미 야구도 지금 있어 거라 말업 날 누구 해서 그러 와서
So, it is the case that it is good if you understand the steps in this process of recognizing them as mother, kind, and then repaying the kindness. But then the point is, sometimes, I mean, it's good to know what are the steps in this process of generating it, but sometimes we don't see the deeper points of recognizing the kindness, or even some people can't even recognize that the mother has been the mother, or it's almost like they could have been one's mother, but you gave up on them. Then there are cases where those in this life don't recognize the parents or are separated from them and don't recall what the parents did, relatives did, or let's say they leave the parents to themselves with little, and you're in a luxury state with organic everything. That would be that would be marap or disrespectful to just look after yourself and leave your parents. We say we are practicing, we say we are honorable, but to act formally like that, it's not really honorable, is it?
근데 베지를 된데 저거다. 자전나라. 수수 뭐마신베 아마도 아마지 마 자전나 홍도이나. 수수지고야 다야 그 배전체 제대비나 근데 말아지기로 하다. 봐. 당원에서는 일 밤마도서 야 자별 배전체고라다. 그 멤버체 수수지고 다야 배전체는 미상물라고 보고도 다 말업 잡으시도 밤말라 로봇체는 제도 보면 라그라다.
Yeah,
제가
you know, it is the analogy of the parents drowning in the sea and you just going for your liberation personally and leaving them there. We would say that's dishonorable, isn't it? Just to say, oh, that person's just saving themselves first. But actually, we should think to save them first, you know?
제가 단다디 고물로도기 롭딩나라 로마라팅만나라 데송도 티페데 니두스르와 니두 코베자즈 콩두 추주바스르와 롱건난데 롱와다베 나신데 기지페베 뭐마신거네 개드직다시네 텔레토메스 니두 코베자즈나라 아니 자즈 롱건나라 아니 롱도고요 수수비 기지페 뭐 수수 뭐신 파마다 심지 말 롱도고요 디제디야 교배 배제만 수수지고야 타야 그 배전 체된 좀 미들라 아니 갈라그래 미상에 딜래야 아니 가서 여러 상주 면조 스티그로 미두자 스티그로다 어딘데 차로 그래서 세상 알아서 딘제 치기요 말했다 수수거리지 심지디 제 코와 자존날래야 교배하겠다 먼저 배전지 제고를 했다 어디 숨고요
Nagarjuna, in a letter to a friend, states that your kind mothers who are blind, you know, no wisdom, but have fallen into the ocean of cyclic existence in that predicament. If you were to neglect them and just think of your own salvation, that would be dishonorable. Well, really, the kind parents that are in that predicament of cyclic existence, the ocean, we should think about protecting them and saving them.
제가 단도 디레도 또뭐 좀 된데 니 또뭐 좀 된데 그 루주나라다 마 제원데 어디래도 좀 된데다 아니 수수기 제메샤 보고샤 제보다 제보차고 여러고 내시는 제시 창모샤네 돼야 가라서 땅에 심지 아니 뒤에 그 동이 싸워 동이 매워지 소토비아 체드 말하게다 냠낸 체제 심지신 그 동이 교배하게 체드 수수 동이 동이기 싸워 동이기 유 동이스니데 아니 유다 젤레데 총이나 디 유데 싸워 타도디 간에 총이메데 군조 서버데 레메도스 디 좀데데 숨다 군조 그다 서버레메도 군조 라지 단도편질 제뉴베 미제면도스라 군조 여러 라텐 여러 미지 지금 민도스디
Okay.
제상고에 내주디 미시 몽배용 총으로 다 몽버세야 그 탑람데 좀데데 라니기 다 타베 공방 톱니 랑가도단 델로도나 타버토부도 당한저 좀데데 상 예세베 질라 뒤제 장래 대버 코베 계산나래 탐으로 다 대나신지 시토비아 체되는 아주 좀 된데 제스 롭제다 즉 수수 동에 써야 돼 심지 신지 동에 써야 체도 인스지 또 로이나 아니 다다차고 다딜라 란진지게 투메마고 고고요 제단 드줄라다 뒤에 굴론 제제 신빙기 뒤에 그런서 뒤에 내가 무슨 걸 룽하게 자와 칸셔 심지신라 편법바식 누구 인세 편법바식 써야 되네 저와 매베 토네 편법바식을 주신다 그러고 매와 시고요라 뒤에 준준나랑서 심지 짐바다야 될 류롱주 계자당 계자인지네 심지신라 같이 주신베 지바다야 그 제들라야 류당 롱주당 계자 숨자 심지를 당겨라 어디 지산디 다 도즈다 가서 내가 도서 시에네 다 대간 된대간라 다 로데 스스님마님마 가서 자한테 것도 따야다.
It is the case that Shakyamuni Buddha left his palace, he left his family, his wife and so forth, and went forth. Why did he do that? He did that for all living beings, wanting to free them from their suffering situation. But he saw that the root or cause of that suffering was in one's own mind, and that was not coming from like our creator God. That he looked for such a cause coming from a creator God, but it was unfindable. What he saw was that the root of that suffering of self and other was this ignorance that had to be dispelled, and had to be dispelled or uprooted, and then liberation was obtained and the path could be shown by Buddha. And in that sense, having gone through that process, was able to liberate innumerable beings from cyclic existence, the suffering of cyclic existence. So if we follow a similar method, first we have to remove the suffering of our own situation, our own minds, and then we are in a position to do it for them. And we should do it with an attitude that is not sullied or stained by self-cherishing. In other words, we should have an altruistic view that has no agenda for ourselves. And in that line, we look at practicing the paramitas, like when you practice generosity, the wish to give, you are giving away your body, your wealth, and your roots of virtue. So we study and engage in training like that.
Dinala danda lamrimnala yandene che tabe jindi jermo chen rang sung sare to dunas rangi ma temba ne de su amade ta temba maneve che nyomba do cha che ro
Yeah, crazy.
ani mig long che mig ma thong che ro simba tu
Yep.
ani komba jab de yang de la ma sa ro de ngam thong yo ro ta de thonggi le amade mig meva sim thuk de ba 아니 양라마 사도가 통기라 아주 부부푸디 수수 아마 맞아위나 다 미디 컨데지레와 어딘데레가 또 저는 미디 컨데지레스 가서 딥디 비베디 쉬우샤도로 제르무지 그와
Lama Tsongkhapa gives the analogy of in this text, steps to enlightenment, of one's kind mother who is crazy or crazed with hallucinating mind, but also is blind and is on the edge of an abyss or a cliff. We see that she is like that, on the edge of a cliff, on the edge of an abyss. But if one were to not do anything to save the mother from that predicament, we would look upon that person and say, poor, no honor. And this is an amazingly powerful example of Lama Tsongkhapa.
부인하래 부모이나 델라라와 마저나 덴데 내감시 주는 다 술라라와 저거래라
and
부디야 스스 마자베나 수제 그래라
if the mother cannot rely on her dear children, be they son or daughter, to protect them from such a plight, who can she depend on in that situation?
제가 저랑서 디 파마 대대녀도 있나 수수 파말라 샵지슈 로봇이 콘도만나면 싫어 문에다 돼 개좀 쉬어라 아니 파마 돈 사는 다 찾아라 로 그거 세대기 파마단 개개세야 돼 신체화지 가서는 세대기다 직도 그담성이나 파마를 내용 요래로.
And if you still have parents that are alive, take care of them, serve them. Don't be angry around them. If they've died, if they've passed on, that's too late. But those two, the mother and the teacher, are an exemplified field of merit, of karma.
세상 나게마 델레 미팅이 스토스로 응마 네 부구 서비니 부구 서제 갈래 시자윈스 부구 된다로 수수 니마고 사마베 통마베 부구를 때 당아 부구 첨부 차네 도송 당아 계속 하나는 쭉소스 당아 계속 하나 돈이 거란 좀 당행에마 부구 써야 돼 노시야성에 근데 남이 미니 도송가 되네 녜녜망에 부구 된다 갈래 장아 노시야스 다 딩상 카와다니 믹다니요 말 부구 상만 도사다 당아 계속 하나는 따도시니요 말 어딘데도 semba joshore semba josho 벨레도 보고 면해야서 다와도 안지내야지
I met a couple of people and they put tremendous effort into bringing up their children, like going without sleep, providing their meals. But then after all of that care, the children left home, and lastly the parents were left in a rest home. And then those people commented, well, that was a mistake, putting all that effort into bringing up those children and so much effort, but now they don't even call or come to see. That's quite sad. So better to not have kids and become a monk or nun, no? You don't have to put effort into others. You can work on your path.
곰발레이나 다 너와 치료를 다 하고 뭐도 곰발나라이나 먼저 기도 개개인도 빼 따도 신이라 심대요 말해. 저 곰발나라 다 팅산다 간대이나 뭐마니 먼저 개개인도 절은 빼미시 샵지 쇼쇼다 그러고 다 단다 가링이 지라시라 하고 매다. 주어도도 하다 상마 주어도도 알아.
In the monastery, the reciprocal care between students and teachers was good. I don't know how it might be now, but in those days it was good.
Metija has had a big operation. As Elsel. Big operation here to there, big. And he's there that time big hospital 3 months. And me and we five students look after him. I'm most cooking. I don't know language, I'm most cooking, killing in plate. And there are 2 students and 3 students, 4 hours. Sometimes we all go together, look after our teacher. And this all doctor nurse said, this is your father? No. This is your uncle or your relative uncle? No, we don't have nothing physical, no connection. They're all surprised. Wow, this is amazing, This is a very unreal. Today, you must jumbling member the nurse some hands on the 먼저 talk about word, talk about 출해지 짱 뒤에 가서래. 서로 임백 초와요 말해. 가봉안에 잡지슈. 건다 님은 다도시고요.
개겐 개trot래.
개겐 먼저 개겐라. 기록이 개겐라. 봐 다도시고요 봐. 저는 건서 항상 지선다 다 등산 간데 있는 하모다 등산 이다 하고 만들어.
People were amazed to see how the students took care of the teachers when they were sick, cleaning them, washing them, helping them with toilet and all that, with a sense of joy, doing it with a sense of joy. I'm not sure how it is today.
Again, the hangichi sora hangichi.
Yeah.
Ngare junyi sang ngatu. Nabdu chiedo.
Yep.
Sang mangeju. 전대로 인지를 당하라 즉 자와 가와이네 람도로 야고 도대기도 직직 좋아 직 레로도 상마 야고
là đi chơi bộ rồi
개개인라 거딘 직수수 샵지 야고 슈버디 메즈디 난게 데 소남 슈지 사이스르네
okay.
소남 야고 사이스르데
I used to wash my teachers' handkerchiefs, and then it seems that the result of that is that, I'm not short of things wherever I go. It seems like the merit from serving the teacher results strong.
제가 개개인당 파말라야디 소남 사세 싱지와 가르쳐놔도 콘조에 간저 탄다라 자자자 삼당 요로 자자자 딜라 디요 말 가서 그래 셀레요 말 자자자 간저 탄다 삼당 요로
The teacher and parents are a special merit field because their concern for us is 100%.
제자한테 그 파마 저는 파마 대디뉴나 빼다 대변내주 야고 도자 그런 차례 다 단단해 샵지슈 대화체 로아스스 같이 톱도게 파마래 샵지슈도 난 딜렌스 밤에 딜렌스로 오라 밤에 딜레마스는 밤에 라요세 게야더라 개개인 그 딜레마스는 개개인 그 라요 게야 라요 게와스나 가두이나 자와야고 마요야 된대 수수 강에 망고 해야 된대 연구도
I said digjoeborwa.
연구도 하대
So if you're fortunate to still have parents with you, no matter what happened in the past, be it good or bad, leave that, serve them correctly now, make good connections with them, do that repaying, and it's the same with teachers, because if not, the result of neglecting those two fields of parents and teachers means that whatever you do does not go well.
근데 예 딘데 통상 파마게 칼라 많이 요러시니 메제나라 강에쇼 텐죠
Ale kalap de maniera. I've seen instances of those children that don't listen to the parents, and then it's difficult in later life.
I have two uncles in India, and one uncle has two daughters, three sons, and he my rich uncle, he said this is other uncle, he has five children, and he was young in Tibet. He is very very naughty son. For mother has lost problem and not listening, and then he escaped to disappear. And before 1959, he lived, and mother has lost worry, cry, lost things. And then I met here in 1989. 1997, and his daughter not listening him. very hard relationship. He had lots of suffering here, and maybe one reason he is sick and he passed away. Now his daughter, she has one daughter and four sons. Now one daughter, one son, no listening this daughter now. Big problem now. All the time they give me lost message. I told this is karma, your karma. You not listening your father. You making lost problem your father. Now you cheating, you're making problem now. This is amazing. They see one said, very clear, go recycling like that. 어딘데 요르다 제상아도 파마스야 돼. 낭미 당기요 말해. 파마 당기게라 낭미 당나 아니 둔데야 원용 말해 봐.
It is not advisable to disregard or look down on parents and teachers, because then the path is not fortunate.
세상 인도 마신 세야지 틴틴 세는데 마신 틴틴 버세 틴 소어 세야니다 컨데서 그래 다우나 밤에 틴 컨데서 그래서 다좀 된데 됐어 그래 밤에 틴 써야 돼 약쇼에도 가려라면이나 아니 수수 수수 메제디 심볼징 안에 메제 끼워징 안에 아니 밤을 심데 메베도네 메지게토이나 메제디 시와다 대와당 파말라 심데 메베도네 메지게토이나 티 밤에 가진 소리로 그랬어 티 밤에 가진 소리에서 인지민지 파말라 직대 직지고 초거에 개요 말 파마들 심난 강에 마서지 심데 마서비나 아니 디 디레송도 좀 된대요.
How then is the best, understanding that they have been one's mother and been kind, what is the best means to repay? How? Shakyamuni Buddha said that directly in this life, keep it very simple. If you can help the parents to be worry-free and peaceful, I'm not talking about necessarily giving the parents things, material things, but removing worry from their mind. That is for good.
수수 메제디로 수수 메제디 끼우되는 밤을 가고 연구라로.
Yeah.
그래.
And also if you live a life, a happy life, that will also help them, please them.
밤아 심디 당보대 밤아 심디 맞아요. 아니 중간에 팬도식으로 그러다로.
Yeah, so firstly, if you can make the parents be free of worry, then over and above that, benefit them, that's best.
단단시라서 밤아 대대는 저라서 지메 계속하는 로그 말에 내 다도 제거실라. 뭐네 캘린체전에 요거랑 아마시나나? 저랑 계속한 로그 말에 내 다도 제거 아니 참배이나로 저랑 알아 참고이나 가오로도 도와지 베미시 자성 뭐랑 랑진디 랑제 체탄 베베시 자성 뭐래도 돼 구급되다 자 구급이에요. 그러니까 저랑서 구급 약보 된대요. 그렇지. 구급 상말로였던 거다. 와 강배 tunjini yore ane free traveling free 가리나 다베 야고 여르들레 그거 파마님도 대야게 그거 배들로 해셔다 찬서 배려고다 딩 앞에 판거도 대랑네 판쇼직대도 미드저거 수수 파마님도 대야게 그거 여와데 마데베체 파마데 강보 첨보진난데 아 뭐그디 강보 첨보진난데 미래의 강보 첨보를 나는데 초 가려야 되대로 뭐지? 제나르지도 되다. 저제단 되다. 나오도 문도다.
Try and tell your parents, don't go to a rest home. I'll look after you. I'll do it. I'll do it. Of course, if you're close to them, when you get on well with them. But these days, the self-cherishing has become so thick. The self-interest has become so thick. The opportunity is there, but you kind of gave it up. I mean, you've got the opportunity to be in the same house. Travel is often free, but you lose the opportunity to do so. This is something that I've seen, and it is a condition for being sad. It makes you sad. Like the parent lives in one big house, you live in one big house. And when you see those conditions, it's kind of quite scary.
제메신이 강관남 동대지는 배사라. 강관을 차고지 제라.
Kaseo, kambuchimwe.
동대를 지는 배사. 동대.
And if they were in a big house like that with ghosts, it would be really scary.
아유. 아디 닌데도 파마가 심대셔라. And you can tell you need to promise him. I did my uncle, and he's very worried. He said, "Oh, become old, and he don't have student." He said, "I don't want I don't want to make upset other people because on the old time dead, then people no dead, no moving, and then those people look after." I don't want it. I need a little bit early. I want a wishing death, early death. And I told him, don't do like this prayer, I can look after you, you don't worry. And he said, are you sure? He said, yeah, of course, I commitment for you. Don't worry. Don't do this prayer. If you have, dingzu said.
Oh, like a guarantee?
Yeah, if you have guarantee next level by the human being, then you can do this prayer. Otherwise, this is a very good opportunity for human being, and don't do this prayer. I saw he do this prayer, and I heard this prayer, and then later he never did this prayer, and he was sick. And I look after him. I went 2010. I was in Copenhagen, and he has kidney problem, and I told my friend, I have very close 5 friends in monastery, and I called them, please take my uncle, take big hospital. And the hospital say, oh, too late, your uncle, too late. He's there at hospital, I may live longer, 20 days. I immediately went to Nepal to Sarah. I look after him, and I did everything for him. This is a little bit, rejoice, Laura.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
we can rejoice about that.
Yeah. I think I did him a promise, and I did everything. And he gave me little heart in Dharamsala. He gave me. He stayed 47, nearly 50 years. I think this little house he lived 27 years. He been little yogi, Laura yogi.
Yeah.
Nearly 50 years. He's very simple life, very peaceful life, very peaceful. 세상 하면서 국가비연하니 다 제거를 지나서 학월도요니 빈자 다 가보도 하다 빈자 주세요. 나 지나서 낭발에 저는 레버 톨라서 된디 자선 것이 요래라. 저는 레버 디스 레전드와 다 레버 톨라서 뭐네 로봇이야 그거 가고 싶도 알아? 자선 뭐래도.
If you have the opportunity, it's good to do it, but your relatives might say you're a Buddhist and that's a waste of brain.
They're thinking they are more smarter than for us, Those people have read. They think our life looks wasted time. We thinking their life is wasted. They're thinking our life is wasted time. They do a little bit strange. They're thinking, how amazing, isn't it? Yes, considerando nganzo mezi tolerate nganzo tane konzo mezi tolerate ta ganji si tolerate right.
Yeah, I mean, we could look at them and think they're wasting their life. They could look at us and think we're wasting our life. So who's wasting?
Kechejudi simnala ngamdadang majiwe yudu ni samdayo na dirda ro.
Yeah.
세상에 나는 그거 야구 시우지를 하고 인상 삼로디서 땅 책도다 책도 코데오도와 냠네 책하고 열도서 렐하고 요 말에 책 코데오 열에 마신 딘소스로 책배 코데오도 다디 냠네 제일 수술을 수편도 지니들 파로가 야구 책으로 써야 돼 근데 가고래도 알아 다 세상에 다 그거 비워야 돼 당보 체대기 파마 빈자 초고 총모 아니 총바 다 내가 지선난 게 내가 레로 둘라 대화 유스디게라 펜도 지도비나 대화 메시지는 먼저 배나가서 유그랜다워도 동해 쉬운 거 당아서 지역에민도 저 별라 동해 쉬어도 지역에민도 내는 것이 요 대화 유스디게라 그거 비워디 지도비는 배우고 sorry.
What's important is to be able to have a mind that's free of worry or help others remove their anxiety. Then and if you have the opportunity to practice with relatives, one should do it. The words are easy, aren't they? Like, each being's been your mother, they've been kind, repay the kindness. The words are easy, but when it comes to actually practicing, it is not so. However, having the opportunity means with those that are close, parents, relatives, friends, colleagues, connecting with them and helping the ones you can. Things that are happening in Ukraine, things that are happening in Tibet, we can't really affect that much. Much better to work close at hand. Yeah, if those that you have an immediate connection with benefit then, and then there are results, isn't it? Results ensue.
경아지 고등유는이 배야고로라 경아지 고등매나니 내가부터 다둘데 가진 친구인바 가진 친구이나 될 팀소 다 팀에 간제소 그래서야 돼 세상단다데 다 베젠날 랍도 가다 다 랍데 다 수랑네 다이레미시 중간도 칼라도만 사주주 서샤로 제르무진 가딩로 간데 야고도 세상한다
Coming up this week, then reflecting on that, how to repay the kindness of beings, that they have been kind, and going back to that relationship as a mother, if you can apply that to the existence of past lives, that's good. If you cannot, just think how the kindness works on a temporal and a more long-term ultimate way of their kindness. All of the advice on how to repay is given clearly here. Lama Tsongkhapa has laid out the food. Now one has to eat it, so to speak. Yeah. Our only job left is to eat the food. It's all been made.
That's easy. Are you a question?
Are we having questions?
Yeah. Okay. Do you?
Yes.
Okay, well, one of my question is sort of a little bit this part. Anyway, saving, one of the ways we benefit sentient beings is teaching them Dharma.
Yes.
Spreading the Dharma, helping to do that. So, Geshe-la mentioned at the beginning of the class that most of the people in the classroom here work at the Dharma Center.
Yes.
So, wouldn't we be benefiting sentient beings greatly by working at the Dharma Center, like giving up our lives for the welfare of others, like living in this way? I consider this one of the most profound ways that we're able to help others.
Yes.
And also, Geshe-la mentioned that some of us have been here a long time.
Yes.
Even, been involved. So, in my experience, that the people who are still, who come to the Dharma, all of us who are working here even, no matter how long we've been here, this is one of the signs, let's say, that movement has occurred
in the mind. Yeah.
There is realization of some kind in everybody's mind at some level. So the question is to ask Geshe-la, what sort of display is Geshe-la looking for?
Okay. What sort of signs? Yeah. Thank you. The jidang simchingi pembagi tap mangbuyorwa. Chikla pena che sung che ten teach the Dharma che ti drops right. Geshe-la dagang sungya nangshin konzo mangchewa che sakti nangla danglen che leka che barwadi. Di gyapa di gyumzen di gyu shimpengi simchen na pembe na che sakla leka che gyu barwadi. Yang kashikla susu lu tang che che sakki shabshu che di haleba ding sapo ki tab marves. Simchengi pembe kudu. Sung sang yang point nipa di kashikla getrukla chesak nang la gyurimba yongi yanadra lobjon chegi yanadra kashikla mutu na yongi yudu di la ta chikla konzo sem nang la chik dua sem nang la chik gyurisong jabashi imbarwa kayasana konzo mutu na yongi yorwadi di gangla Geshe-la ki getruk nang la 믹세기 dots, the sign. What kind of sign are you looking for?
Dida nganazo bena nganazo lega chia tang chuzo ni nala tuzo ji yagu yomo ya sero de lega chabji temba chawa domas kulon la lero
Yeah.
kulon di ni temba la phemba tang do simje la phemba ji ina chu shewe na lega chewe na pingyore kulon di business gan do sasna na chazara da yomare no di tangbo kulon la
Right, so first I'd like to say that people working at the Dharma Center, whether that goes well or not, and whether it benefits the preservation of Buddha Dharma and or sentient beings depends on the motivation of those doing that work. So I'd like to say initially, motivation's important. Yeah.
당저 디 ngal 가르고 왔으나 다 진짜 원에 망보 응외라 용용이 gem버도 저기 사바도 저래야 아니 베 학생 남자 그 돈에 인카르시니 고고요.
알레옹
디메베시 제 쇼업 신기유 돈도로 제나 디디 배진 불링난 되는 것도
야.
제가 ngal 가르고 그러잖아. 진짜다 기록 gemba 닝바도 저기 신기유던도 식도 네 신기유던도 마셔.
Yes.
셴바데 제와당 탑켜버지기 돈에 미사워들 잠재 좀 두야당 먼저 추저디 상말로지 공반난시 공변나라 시니에 망도 주니어 페스스 쉬어지 다도 식으로 어딘데로지 말라 어딘데시 거야
take care dinang시 저러바래
딘데시 거야 당알라 고고 있나 딘데시 거야 있으나 거야 돼.
Yeah, what I would like personally is that the older students, it's like they encourage the new students, like taking them under their wing, not kind of showing off that they are proud that I know the Dharma, 1, 2, and 3, but that the old students with skill and love and warmth help the newer students coming in. It's like in the monastery, the senior monks really take care of the junior ones. And, well, this is just a personal wish, whether I get it or not. It's just...
I grew up this monastery, past era in monastery. I don't have nothing appreciate and don't have hesitate because they very care. The 2, 3 monks coming there. Someone taking my car, someone taking my cushion, someone say, you sit here in a temple and after talk finish, I can take you. You sit here, don't worry, care like that. And then they're teaching food, these things, and sometimes we, debate learning those things, and there's coming, after debate, they're coming 2, 3 monks coming, they teach me very sincerely care. We see their body language, we need to see some more expectation on our swiming 학생 남다.
yeah.
그래서 학생 남다 가려고 그래.
It is like like superior concern for others without your agenda.
딜 누바요. 학생 남다.
Pure.
누바.
Yeah, that type of innate concern, spontaneous concern.
제 membership not two-faced no good then. We easily see it body language. we want one face. 로. 어디래다. 어디래다 가서 초보디날 된 대사래네. 정말로 도시 근데 데이터에나 야고요. 사람도 싸워도 계속 되고를 겸받아서로. 아버지 신기 외도도 마찬가지로. 로. 아니 저라서 신기 외도도로 제제 아제 제대는 열제 되지요 말이야. 아니 계시대 추zo 되고 하면도 안 신기 외로. 로야.
Now in that context, the new students can ask the old or the senior ones should not in any way show off or pretense to know it all. Because if you have that kind of pride, you won't improve. And if you do know it all, why should I be here? We'll dedicate now.
Page 31 for the short mandala.
这是
这些没到长日拉林西年的见巴的三界心的没的二瓦，这个南大心拉这把手，不在拉的心，让拉天来出去见巴。路上点别准备了工具，准备没事大到那就行。Guru Mandela Kamniya Tayami.
Page 33, prayers of dedication. Due to the merit of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain and all that we rejoicing and requesting heaven for the same teaching. I now dedicate all this.
大大小小的热闹的圣经人的叫小家头一天把一人把一人大大小小的热闹叫了大家我也得把一人把一人叫长就的那就满了长现在的我们的就是这个时候就是这个是的把它的